Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As we know, movies have been filled with a lot of malarkey and shenanigans lately, but in the month of May, it seems like there's not going to be anything but Hokum. We're going to talk about Hokum right now. All right, well, King Z's sitting in the pit of despair over there, and apparently I'm reviewing Hokum 2026 by Campfire. I don't know, we're just doing something different to goof off. Probably won't be doing that again on Wednesday for Frostcast, but it was fun. It was fun to move things around. But
Yeah, have some fun with this.
sure, that's what we're gonna do, dude. I had some fun, believe it or not. I was running some verbal notes, some voice notes on the way out of the drive, and my out of theater reaction was, "I'll be damned." Like I actually have a bunch of good things to say about this movie, and I
I
feel like at the beginning of the year on the hype list, this was not in my top 5. So I'm pleasantly surprised about what I've got to say coming up after you give your initial situations.
so I didn't really know about this movie either coming into the year. It was pointed out to me by my wife. She showed me the teaser trailer,
Mhm.
and it was a really good teaser trailer. So it kind of got that's what got it on my radar. And then of course it got on the calendar, and now it's here, and we've watched it. And leaving, I thought it was a good movie. I think the reason why it was a good movie, and if you didn't notice that this was made by a brand new production company called Neon, as they're trying to get their foot. Looks like they just got distribution,
Mhm.
and they're looking to get their movies out there because they seem to have a lot coming out here coming up.
Are they the Backrooms company? Is Backrooms by Neon?
No, that's A24.
That's A24. I'm now that you just said Neon out loud, like I can see vaguely in my head their graphic on other trailers that I know we've taken a look at or that we've talked about this year. So I think you're right. I think they're on the up and coming with within the genre as a smaller house, but making moves, dude. I mean, I gotta right off the bat. I think we've said this before a bunch of times about certain comedic actors just have what it takes to cross over into horror. And dude, Adam Scott's the guy. Like seriously, his portrayal of Bowman. I don't remember the first name in the movie. He played Bowman, the lead here. He was such an unlikable dickhead from jump, and was almost irredeemably an unlikable dickhead for the whole movie. That it carried. His timing is perfect. He's got that smarmy thing working for him, 110% pedal to the floor in this. I thought he was great. I thought he was great.
All right. So we're going to hit you with the spoilers because there's no way we can do what we do without throwing some information out there that you might not like. So, spoiler alert coming now.
Dude, tell me about you, because yeah, you threw the title together on this one. Dude, is Adam Scott like a horror icon? Like, what's his deal? Is he
I
elevating here for himself?
I think Adam Scott needs to change from comedy and go into more of these roles if he wants to become more of a household name. I mean, he got a good name as a comedic actor with stuff like Parks and Rec,
Yeah,
and
of course.
was it a party planners or some super party or something like that, where he was
I
on
know
a
from Parks and
party
Rec.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a very comedic actor version, but I think if he wants to move into this type or maybe even some more dramatic roles or thrillers, I think this is the type of move he needs to make, and I think it would be good for his career as well as he has the chops to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I just took a quick peek at his movie listings here, just on Google, just across the board. He got his start in movies, I think, in Hellraiser Bloodlines, which came out when we were in high school. So that's how far back this guy goes. I think that was his first credited film role, was that. But after that, he's been in stuff like Krampus. He was in the Piranha remake, and he was in the remake of Stephen King's Monkey Shines, the monkey that came out last year. Yeah, he was leading that. I didn't end up seeing that. I heard it was a pretty good dark comedy, though. A lot of people thought it was over the top gory, like Piranha was. It was kind of fun. But Hokum isn't that. Hokum is this interesting mix of like 3 different kind of genre of like supernatural horror stuff. You got your ghost story stuff's in there. You've got your witch folklore is in there. You got a little bit of like murder mystery for a little while. There's a lot going on here. And every time I thought I had something figured out, they threw just enough more action at me to keep me interested for the stretch. So pacing, perfect, perfect. And I hate pacing issues. I got nothing bad to say about it in this one at all.
The way I was describing it, because I know my wife won't see this movie, so she was asking me about it, and I
Yeah.
said that the supernatural part of it kind of takes a back seat. It's more of the driving force than
Hmm.
the actual plot. The whole thing is a murder mystery, is the actual movie, where the supernatural part and the battling the witch and everything like that, that's more of like the justice part of it, and
Yeah.
the plot, what drives the story. I don't think it's the main part of the story. I think the plot was a murder mystery.
Yeah, and I don't think at all that was my general take on what the movie was going to be when we went in. So I walked in there constantly surprised or like eyebrow arching like every 10 minutes. Like we get to that one, I think it's pretty much the point of no return, getting there to set up the whole major story is the main character's self-deletion attempt. I'm like, fuck just happened? Like, didn't see that coming. Is Fiona the lead of this movie? Because she's the one that finds him. I'm like, holy shit, like
Yeah, I
what
was
is happening
thinking.
here?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, this part was not talked about. I'm
Nope.
like, I haven't even seen a Dumbwaiter yet, and that's the movie
Right.
poster.
Right. Like I thought that was a wild direction that they took in it, and I'm grateful for it because I think it worked across the board. One of the things that really impressed me early on is the amount of visual storytelling they pulled off with Adam Scott's character. Where right from the beginning, he's a writer. He's drinking at his desk. He's got the creepy setting. He thinks he sees something. He turns a light on it. The shadow disappears, and then boom, ghost over the shoulder. So they're already priming you with the same old to get your guard down. But then we see what he's writing, and it's definitely bleak, and he's got that whole thing going on. And then he makes the trip over to the hotel that he's going to stay in, and he starts spreading his parents' ashes. And I'm like, the difference in how he spread the ashes told you
Yep.
everything you need to know about the character. You
Yeah,
talk about
without
that because I
saying a
knew you were going to pick
word.
up on that. Yep, with no
Yeah,
words.
without even saying a word. I even said it out loud in the movie theater. I had a bad experience at the movie theater, so I didn't really actually care about talking out loud
Yeah,
at that point, because I had a bunch of rude people to my left that I had to put in their place.
yes,
But
indeed,
beside that,
as
I'm
you
there
do.
watching, and I'm like, oh, okay, because he took care with one of them and like
Mm-hmm.
put in different places, and the other one he was just like,
Boop.
but he did
Yeah.
take care enough in it to put them together at the
Yes.
end.
Yep. Which was solid. Which was solid. So I'm like, oh, this is good stuff here. We get
The,
even more quick beats with him being built when he gets to the hotel, how he interacts literally with everybody. Like he's definitely some douchebag Yankee, top shelf pseudo celebrity talking down to people, even the owner of the
mhm.
hotel. And you're like, oh, did I hope this guy gets eaten by something by the end of this movie? Like you were hoping for it early.
Yeah, because you either it was going to be like he was going to become the problem,
Yeah.
or he was going to be on a redemption arc. You're already seeing that based on the opening scene in his where he's writing, and
Yeah.
he saws open this box that he had, and it had a gun in it.
Yeah.
And it was like you knew something was about that gun. Of course, all of Chekhov's gun type thing. There's something to
Mm-hmm.
do with this gun. And then I had like some pictures of his. I At the time you're guessing it's like a loved one,
Yeah.
because he took very care of the picture and everything like that,
Yeah.
and it kind of just built that. But the more you hear him talk, and I think the best part's when he's at the bar after spreading the ashes.
Oh, we're
That's
talking to
what
Fiona at the
really
bar. Yeah.
no, the bellhop.
Oh, that's right. That's right. When he's talking to Albie. Yeah.
Yep. Albie, that was it. That was his name. Yeah, like his initial contact with Albie.
Yeah. Where again, he puts himself out there as this hoity toity dick bag of a human being, just talking down to a guy that's just trying to pick his brain a little bit. Yeah. And he had similar throws to some of that too with Fiona as well, when he's trying to find his room. And and she's like, "Oh, you enjoying your stay?" And he's like, "Yeah, not really." It's like, "Oh, that's a good way to stay lost," or whatever he says. The exchange was good. She's a little bit tougher back on him, which was nice. So they
Yeah.
had a nice little progression to their bond there. But I like what you said
But
about how you thought this guy was going to be the problem early. Like you thought this guy was going to get mixed up in some witch's curse or some bullshit, and it was going to be the Grudge or the Conjuring or this, that, or the other, like you've seen it a million times. And it really doesn't go that way at all. Not at
no,
all.
not at all. Not at all, because it has that type of setup. Because first off, you have
Mhm.
the owner telling these kids about the witch of the forest and how it used to
Mhm.
pull them in with chains and stuff like that. And he tells them,
Awesome ghost
"Kids, don't
story.
listen to strangers, run off." And
Right.
then he kind of mouths off a little bit to the owner about it,
Yeah. He
and
tells him to
then
mind his own
he
business.
yeah. And then he's there when he's talking with Fiona, and he was talking about like what happened with the story of the witch, and he's talking about like what you would do to fight a witch, and she's like, I would bring chalk. And then she breaks out her lore book, because
Yeah.
Ireland's really big on their folklore and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
I think it's a class over there because like how deep everyone knows, but it's just that type of
Just their
community.
heritage, man.
Everyone
Yeah.
everyone
It's their
there is like
heritage.
it's a spread. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Like
Yeah.
something we really don't experience here in America because we're
Yeah.
the melting pot and like everyone moves around so much. You don't have like that
But
tribal type feeling at home.
right. I
So
like the build of the lore of that. That was good stuff. I love when she broke out the book, and of course the book comes back as like a little bit of evidence that kind of points a red herring on another character you think might be responsible, because that's the community at large thinks that person is responsible for the other character's
mhm,
missing or presumed dead status. So I like that they brought that back.
yeah. But the whole first part of the movie, which you could say is Act One, is when he's found in his
Hmm.
hanging type situation that he's in.
Hmm.
That's the end of Act One, and it's a hard cut Act One to
Oh yeah,
Act Two.
absolutely. Like the door to Act Two is like opened and slammed closed behind you,
Yeah,
like relentlessly. Hmm.
and then moving forward, it takes a whole nother shift because he survived
Hmm.
this attempt, but he survives and he goes back to the hotel to get his stuff after release from the hospital. And it's like
Weeks
the end of
later.
the season type thing. Yeah, weeks
Hmm.
later. Like he was there like the week before Halloween.
Leading
Like
into it
it
because
would
the big party was going to be on Halloween. It was going to be on
Yep,
Halloween night.
and
The big
they're
party
like,
that
it
they
was
tell him
it's gonna
about.
be a real crack, which is what we call locally around here a fun time. He's like,
I'd like a
"Is my
room.
room anywhere near their crack?" And he's like, "No, because I don't want to be disturbed."
Yeah,
He's
I
like, "I
want
don't
to
want to
be
be part
nowhere
of this."
near the crack. But
Yeah,
again, that's an Adam Scott delivery that just so dry that it makes it
yeah.
really funny. Like it was perfectly in place for that.
And yeah, then he finds out that the person who saved him is now been missing since that party,
Yeah,
and that
and
is
then he goes
Fiona,
into
who he was
writer,
talking
and
to at the bar.
he goes to writer brain mode right then and there. He's asking the questions. Did you do this? Did you look here? What did the police have to say? You can see him going through the plot points in his head,
Hmm.
But the one thing I wanted to say about Act Two, because I put this at the top of my notes, you know what this movie did better than most horror movies done recently, for me anyway, right? Is it
What's that?
avoids completely the Act Two slog. Everything that happens here dynamically propels everything to its next beat. I was never bored for a moment there at all through Act Two. Usually it does slump. There's a problem in pacing. You get, one beat too many with the character you don't care about. Literally everything they did, and for me anyway, set up the next thing that was going to happen. And that way, by the time we get to Act Three, and they literally had to pedal down and like mash it there, and they held it there for like 30 minutes. It felt like 30, 45 minutes of this movie was him after he goes into the honeymoon suite. Like it wasn't like
Yeah,
the last 10 minutes and oh crap, he was standing in the corner, Blair Witch. Like, no, 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 no. Like he had 35, 40 minutes, it felt like, after he got inside that room, which is crazy.
yeah. And the honeymoon suite was highlighted in Act One, where like
Yep.
you see the owner and like his right hand man, like guaranteeing that no one could get through that gate. It's locked, it's secure
Mm-hmm.
to the honeymoon suite. And then he asked about it when he's at the bar, and
Right.
then that's how the bellhop is introduced. Like no one just happens to just show up.
Nope.
Everybody's introduced for a reason. And that's another good thing it did. And like we were talking about the ash spreading scene, there's nuance in this. It's not just dialogue for dialogue to tell
Nope.
you everything that's going on. There are some explanation dumps because it had to be, because
Yep.
you have to get things moving, but there wasn't just straight exposition by exposition. Like he didn't have to say, and this is for you, Dad, and then
Right.
dump the
Nope.
nope. You
That's
you
he
just get
flippantly
it by
dumped the
his act.
ashes.
Yeah.
Right. That was the entire point of that, is he
And that's
obviously
something I think a
missed his
lot of
mother
movies
more than his father.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think is missing in a lot of this
Mhm.
is nuance or just that subtleness. And this movie has a lot of subtleness. You have to watch around because not everything is as plain as it can see. They did a lot of like stuff in the dark that you just have to catch that they're doing, and like they use the darkness to a to perfection. It's the best
Yep.
way I could put it. They use the darkness in this to really highlight and keep the creepiness level turned to 8, 9 during it.
I think so too, man. I think they on top of that, they did a lot of really nifty things with like angles that they were shooting at too. Like anytime somebody stuck their head in the elevator shaft to look down, not only it was like it was we weren't looking at them from like the right angle looking up, like they were upside down to us. Like we were looking from the
Mhm.
opposite side of the shaft at a head that was turned the wrong way to look. It was weird. And they had a
Yeah,
lot of stuff like that whenever he was looking into a tight spot anywhere in the dark.
to
They did a lot of
disorient
weird stuff.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, they did a lot to disorient you in this movie. And like even at the conclusion of it, there's a little nuance thing that I picked up on. I don't know if a lot of people did. I mean, a lot of them were
Lay it on me.
talking on their phones. No, we'll get there. And I'll
Okay,
see
all
if you
right.
caught on to it as too.
No worries. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. So I think you're right that there's a lot of stuff along the way here to unpack in terms of those characters. And again, a strong point of this movie is there's no bloat to this cast. You've got Adam Scott as your main lead, and he meets like four people at the hotel that are of consequence. The owner is a bit player, one scene and gone, but he's so creepy that you always have this lingering thought that he's involved with the weird shit that's going on. Like Scooby
He
Doo
has
style.
a presence without being on screen.
Yep. And then from there, it's just three people on his staff: the girl that goes missing, the head of security, the manager, and the bellhop. I guess it's just like four. And so it's
4.
not a giant cast of people, and they all have
Mm-mm.
a well defined role to play. And the one guy, the one local crazy, that's it. That's all you
Yeah.
got. They all have like named characters with a lot of dialogue that all very intricately fit what was going on, with lots of red herrings posted in there. At one point, you probably thought it was the bellhop because the guy was a dick to him. The hotel manager had his own little angle in there. The head of security guy that was like repainting the cars, he was a dick from jump. Also, he wasn't playing with
Yep.
Adam Scott, so you're thinking, oh, okay, he's a dick. They're gonna butt heads, you know. Everybody had a very well defined purpose with how they interacted with the main character. And again, there's no bloat and a perfect runtime of like an hour 40. So it zooms,
Yep.
like it moves.
I did like the town crazy. He had a lot of
Jerry was
good
good.
points.
Yep.
Yeah, Jerry was good. He was a fun character, and like it's like he says these things are real. Just
Mhm.
everyone's mind is closed to him. You have to have it open in a certain way. And this is a guy who does shrooms with goat
And
milk. We have to
that's why
think about
and
that.
that's why his mind was open. But again, I love that. He wasn't just the town crazy, the town drunk, like old Ralph from like Friday the 13th. Like my man was there, actually cared about the character that went missing and tried to rescue her, right? At peril to
Hmm.
himself, because he's more or less a wanted fugitive full on by the end of this movie, right?
Yep.
And he offers up relevant information to our lead and then kind of convinces the lead to come along with him when the lead initially had kind of refused that call for help. Like he said, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, they checked it out. She's not up there. And then the old guy's like, I really don't want to go up there by myself. I don't know what I'm going to find. Can you come with me? And then Adam Scott accepts the call to action. So they're
Yeah.
all there. They're all building blocked like right in where they should be. They made it a very easy movie to watch while being completely unpredictable for the most of the hour and 40.
Yeah. And then you just did the whole thing of him, like it's him up in the honeymoon suite now. They have the key. It was stolen from the owner, and now they have the key to get up there. And the reason why the owner locks it up is because he says he has a witch locked up in there.
Right.
So now you're wondering, what are we going to see? Now we're going to see the supernatural part. What are we going to see? And once again, it's just a driving force for this murder mystery or a missing person at this point, not a murder mystery at this point that we're getting into.
Yeah, the supernatural stuff only comes up in little bitsy flashes along the way, and most of it revolves around the initial part anyway. Is Adam Scott's lingering guilt with the death regarding the death of one of his parents, and he's got that one kind of giveaway line where if you're paying attention and you've already kind of pieced together who this character is, he's talking about I've lost my parents, and somebody says, oh, when or how, and she saw, my mother was murdered. She got shot in the face. And then the response question is, I hope they caught him. And Adam Scott says, nah, he was just a kid. He was too young. If you're paying any kind of attention at all, you know who the shooter is. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have it written on the screen. So it's all about
it was that little punk was too young to be punished was his exact line.
Right. So when it gets to, which is why, and maybe this might just be me, was the ghost he saw at the very beginning the homicided version of his mom? Because that happened before, because I thought I saw the bullet hole, right?
Yeah.
Because later when we have that, the weirdest scene in the movie, and I'll spoil the fuck out of this, is where it looks like he's sitting on the floor in an open black space, like where 11 goes into when she goes in the sensory deprivation tank, and he's just got a TV in front of him. Dude, whatever they had playing on that TV was nightmare fuel. That shit's gonna haunt my dreams for a month.
Yeah.
Okay, that character is weird, right? But he's sitting there watching this TV show, kind of like an old school Krusty the Clown kind of kids live action kind of show where the kids in the audience and they all back and forth. Mom walks in after he picks a gun up out of that box that he had from the beginning, points it at himself, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. But then accidentally fires wide, right? Mom comes shuffling in and just like wraps him up in a hug, but she had the bullet wound. And I'm like, oh shit, the ghost from the beginning. Fucking mom. Because that happened before he got to the hotel. So all the weird shit after, you're now questioning if he's actually seeing stuff, hearing stuff, or is it because he's on homeboy shroom milk, moonshine, whatever, all of the above.
Which you don't find that out until the very end.
Right. Which then when he's in, well, we're spoiling shit, he survives. When he's in the hospital recovering, the bellboy comes in and says, hey, I just wanted to apologize. After you were a dick to me, I spiked the whiskey that was in your flask. Did you drink it? He goes, dude, it's whiskey. I drank all of it. Right.
Yeah.
So he says he has to like look down at his wrist because he's second guessing whether or not everything happened how he thought it happened. But he's got the bruises from the witch's shackles. So that shit happened.
And it then it goes back to that line. He says, everyone, it's all real. Just if you have your minds open to see it.
Dude, it cut right back to that footage. Like they just reused Jerry telling him how that was going to work. So there was a lot going on, but there was a nice little emotional beat where he gets captured. He tries to do the chalk circle for a second time, but the witch gets him.
Yeah, before he could get it done.
Right. And then Mal comes down the stairs, the hotel manager. He's
the dumbwaiter
down the hallway. The dumbwaiter. That's right. I'm sorry. The elevator's bro. The dumbwaiter. He comes down. He's trying to kill this guy. That way he doesn't leave and like reveal the mystery, the murder mystery details. The witch absolutely gets him, which was awesome how that all plays out. But as Adam Scott's kind of sitting there resigned to his fate, ghost of his mom comes through and he finally fucking like he apologizes. He says, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's got the tear thing and like mom forgives him.
It was just an accident.
It was an accident. Like he broke down,
Yeah.
So maybe he finally shed a little bit of the remorse that maybe drove his dad to drink and estranged them from each other. Maybe, who knows?
Because that's what he referred to. Because they asked like, and what about your dad? And he was like, oh, he turned into a monster.
Drank
and that's
himself
because
into a monster.
He blamed him for the killing of his mother, and like he was a straight dick to his son.
Right.
Just I always told you not to play with my gun type thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, that conversation
cut that to that kid show.
Dude, it was
cut
weird,
that to that kid show, and like he's watching like this TV that just comes on, and it's that kid show again with the dude with like nightmare fuel rabbit face, and he's like, what are two things we don't play with? Guns and our food.
And no, it's fire and guns.
Oh, I thought
fire and guns. No, it's fire and guns because that was the end of the movie. It was fire and guns. I'm pretty sure he didn't say food. It might have been though. But it was nightmare fuel. And the conversation gets more jaded and harsh as it goes. It's like, oh, you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself and you're afraid. Well, you should fucking be afraid. I'm like, what is going on? What is happening with this kid show? Holy cut. It was the most
which I think that was the supernatural part, which this is when it turns into the true redemption arc, you think that the Adam Scott, the character he was before, to the character he is by the end of the movie.
I like to throw a couple just shouts out to Adam Scott as a character there, as Bowman. You see a little bit of the ingeniousness of the writer there at different points where he rigs up the piece from the clock to hit the dumbwaiter bell and sets it to 15 minutes so he knows how much time he has because the button at the bottom of it's broken and he doesn't want to get
Mm-hmm.
stuck down there like Fiona does. He's got a little bit of ingenuity there.
Which he
But that was
finds out by
nice.
Fiona's recording
Right.
on his recorder that he left at the bar the night he tried to say goodbye to the world.
Right. So that was nice. And then when he's frantically trying to pull the mechanical buzzer to let Jerry know that he's stuck upstairs as it rings the old school bell above the main desk, he pulls the switch out and he's like, ah, fuck. But then he has the wherewithal to kick the panel in and reach in and grab the wire and fucking yank on. I'm like, dude, well, plenty of people might not have thought that.
Characters that are actually well written and actually smart. Yeah. I mean, that's a novelty idea, isn't it?
Oh, dude, if he was that smart, he'd have thrown that fucking desk chair out that window behind the bed that overlooks the driveway that Jerry was parked in. I'm just saying, that's my nitpick for the movie. Like, bro, you can get out of that room anytime you want. Just saying. It looked like it was on like the second floor because when they're walking in, they give you that really weird shot where you're looking down, but the hotel was tilted towards you. Again, disorienting, the whole thing. Weird looking. But the window, like you can see over the hotel sign into the cul-de-sac that the cars are in. Not that far.
So you didn't catch on to the noise when he was banging on it. That wasn't glass. That was plastic over it. Like a plexiglass type thing.
You can still throw a chair through that shit. That shit breaks all the same when you hit it. My parents have that shit on their porch. We could break that with the chair. We could break that. It ain't bulletproof glass, dude. All I'm saying. It ain't limo glass.
I'm just saying he might not been strong enough to break the plexiglass with the chair.
Building on fire, witch trying to kill me. Find the strength, dude. Find the motivation. You know what I mean? Man up. But he manned up in other ways, creative. But I wanted to get your take on the book because as writers, I feel like this behooves us to talk about this part. I'm not always down for the tormented writer cliche in movies as like the lead character. That's like a self-insert kind of thing. Like a Stephen King kind of move, but obviously that's probably not the case here. But what did you think of the book he was writing? We got a little bit of the glimpse of the ending of it.
Yeah,
at the beginning of
we
the
saw
movie,
like he was writing the epilogue at the very beginning, then at the very end of the movie. Yeah, and he's sitting there and he's writing about like this. Was it Conquistador?
It was a trilogy that he was concluding. Yeah, that's what it was called.
Yep. And he was like following these maps he had in these individual bottles. And I have a nitpick about this end, but like he gets to a part where he has to take all of his armor off and everything he has like that, and then go forward. And then he gets to the next part and he realized that the cork is broke off and he can't get to the next one. So he's trying to figure out a way to break the bottle. And he's pounding it on loose sand because that ain't going to break it. Nope. Just going to keep catching it. But he has this young boy who's his assistant, and it looks like he's going to bush the bottle over his head to get.
I was unnerved. I was big unnerved. He's like, turn around, don't look back. I'm like, oh, dude, you can't. Come on, don't do it. Don't do it. But then
it stopped before you actually like you see him struggling to do it or getting the strength to do it, and then that's when you cut back to where he's writing and drinking. And my nitpick is there's a continuity error in there because it never shows him refilling the glass, just him typing and going.
Dude, you're exactly right.
That bourbon kept changing amounts.
Now, dude, I wouldn't have cared, honestly. Like that, you're completely right. I wouldn't have given a shit if I saw the bottle next to the glass. I'd have been like, okay, so we didn't need to see that, but it was there, and I know. But like, come on,
the bottles were on the other side of the room.
They were over in the kitchen. Like, no, come on. That's a minor nitpick, but it's a fun one to point out. But I like how they tied that into the story, into his story though, because he's trying to tell Fiona at the bar about the ending of the book, and she's like, "Cool, I'm not going to read it. That's too bleak. It's bleak as fuck." And then that's actually his last words before the big throwdown. There is to bleak endings, and then bam, I'm hanging myself. It wasn't a good time, but I like that. Because I'm a sucker for the happy ending in this situation. I guess it worked. At the end of the movie, they give us the resolution of the story that he was writing, is that the guy decides he's going to give the bottle to the kid. And he tells the kid, listen, you're going to smash me in the head with this until it breaks. Don't stop. I've lived my life. Do it quick before I change my mind. And the kid tries to work up the strength, and he's like, fuck it, can't do it. And he throws it away, and he hugs the guy who's probably his father figure at this point. And where does the bottle land before we cut to credits?
Right next to
a ram skull. Yep.
which
So
would be
I
hard
like
enough to break the bottle.
absolutely. So I was like, all right, that's cool. I'll take that. It was a happier ending than I thought when I sat down. And 10 minutes into this movie, this dude's trying to hang himself. It was a happier ending than I thought we were going to get.
Yep.
100%. But it worked. I don't know why.
So the part that got that I was talking about earlier
Yeah.
was when he came back up the dumbwaiter after the witch pulled in the hotel manager, pulled him into the room of souls.
The underworld or whatever to take him on the tour.
Yeah,
That we
which
talked
also, if
that
you
the
looked at
owner
it,
talked about from the beginning.
which also looked like the little figurines that they were
Yep.
telling the story about
With the eyes.
earlier.
Mhm.
He goes back up, and during the whole time, Fiona's eyes are open.
Yes, they were
She's just staring
closed.
back. They were
They were
closed.
closed.
They were
I'm
closed.
like,
It was the ending. She's free now.
but dude, but again, continuity wise, who closed her eyes? Mal? Like,
No,
maybe?
it was the spirit of her. That was actually meant on purpose. It was one of those symbolism things. Now that Mal's gone, she can close her eyes and she can rest. Yes.
All right. I mean,
That's what I
if you
went with.
Yeah, I could see that. I was doing it more of the practical side of things. I'm like, did he do it and they just cut that 3 seconds where Adam Scott did it and now she's at rest? Like, because Mal wouldn't have given a
But
shit.
no-
He killed her. Like,
Yeah, because
he
it
wouldn't have
paid
done
back. It comes back into the
Yeah.
supernatural being the justice part of
True.
this murder mystery.
I like that. I like your explanation, your take better. Because mine was just like, wait, how'd that happen? But dude, you're absolutely right, because when that dumbwaiter opens for the first time, that's some of the creepiest shit in the movie as well. Like the TV show and Fiona and the dumbwaiter are the images that'll stick with you. The witch image, it's all right. It wasn't the best. Wasn't the worst.
I think when the
first
bellhop
ghost
tells
was good.
his story about his witch was the scariest version of that witch.
Now, dude, we have to talk about this scene because we've talked about this before in like 5 different shows. If you've got a door or a wall and it's got a grated cover on it, how do you not stand next to that door?
You never stand next to that door.
You never put your back to it, number one, so they knock your hat off. And number 2, you know what else you don't do, guys?
Stick your hand in with a
You don't
lighter.
stick your arm through it to the shoulder. Not like a finger, not kind of close. My man went in till his shoulder was against the grate.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. He's lucky he didn't set himself on fire trying to get out of there. But that was great use of darkness and like the negative space frame between the slats. That was good. That was solid. So the visuals around were great. I did have, and it was in my notes at the top, I made a minor complaint list with a couple of those little continuity things. But you know what kind of chat my ass about this movie? Like, here's a legitimate, I don't think this is a nitpick. And I'm definitely down to hear your agreement, disagreement, whatever.
Okay.
Right? I thought this was a strong enough movie, story-wise, execution-wise, performance-wise, visual, all those things, all those categories we're always talking about, right? It was great in all of them. Did I need to have the same old jump scare set to the sudden spike to 400 decibels, heavy string sound effect that all these movies use? No. Dude, I think I'm done with that. They went to that at least 6 times in this movie, and at least 3 of them I was like, you literally could have just done a quick cut or a slow pan over, and it would have been just as unnerving. Like, I get it. You can save a couple to give the audience their yucks. Like, you can do that. But dude, they hit it like 6 times, and I'm like, you guys did not need this. I was down for the ghost story. I was down for the character. I was down for the witch. You had me. You didn't need the paranormal activity, this shit with like all of a sudden, boom! Didn't need it.
I think the sound was a little bit too much, but I did definitely like everything that they played in there, and that last jump scare is the one that got me. What
was the last one?
When he got caught by the witch.
Oh, when he was doing the circle.
Yeah, that one is the one that got me, because I've jumped in my seat a little bit. Okay, yep. You got me.
You know which one? Dude, full disclosure, you know which one got me pretty good? I'll admit it. When he's in some part of the honeymoon suite and he watches the witch walk by the door, and I think she tries to reach in the broken window to open the handle, but then she ends up jumping, so you see her face in the little window above the door. I was like, whoa, that ain't right. Why is this witch jumping? What's happening here? What just happened? But no, the nightmare fuel rabbit face thing, in the all white, not on the TV show, which was all grainy and black and white. Like the whole screen was white, like a flashbang,
Oh,
and there's just this
yeah.
face in the middle. I'm like, what do I do? Where's the proton pack? Like, let's go to it. Like, we got to get to work here. Like that shit was on. No, great movie. Full recommendation from me. Adam Scott fan or not, doesn't matter. Whatever your flavor of like scary movie, I think you're gonna be happy here. I wouldn't even call this a slow burn because there's always something happening. This isn't a
Something
slow
that's
burn.
it's
Like it's
always
all
the story's
going
always
down.
moving. Yes.
Right. It's not like, and again, I'm going to draw an important distinction here to crap I usually complain about. This isn't paranormal activity where you go about 30 minutes and then something happens every 10 minutes for a little while and then they throw everything at you in the last 10. No, there's weird, creepy, unnerving shit that's going periodic, like every 8 minutes, 7 minutes for like an hour and a half. And then the ending, and I say ending, I mean like when he gets locked in the honeymoon suite, that's like 35 minutes of the movie, 40 minutes. And it's
Yeah.
all high acceleration shit going on the entire time. You're never safe once he goes in that room. Even after the sun comes up, you're never safe, which is weird, but there you go. Recommendations from the king, yes or no? Feeling it? Not? I clearly
Yes,
feeling
go
it.
see Hokum. I think it's a great way to kick off May. May has a lot of movies coming out, and I think this
We're
is the
busy, dude.
most saturated month of the year with movies kicking off summer movie season. And I think this is a good way. May 1st, right there on May Day, it was released. So I would say go watch it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I mean, if I had to redo numbers every now and again, dude, I usually don't go crazy with the horror movie numbers, but I'd give this an 8.5. Easy 8.5 for
Yeah.
me.
This is great, and especially for a new studio who's
Yep.
not afraid to take risks, kind of like Blumhouse when it first started, where it
Yep.
was just throwing stuff at the wall and see what stuck. I think this is a great because I never heard of Neon until this one, so I
Yep.
think this is a great way to like start your franchise as a production company.
So for sure. All right, kids. I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? So submitted for your approval for the Nightmare. What was it? The Nightmare Society? The Midnight Society.